Welcome to my presentation. My name is Jessica Shively and I'm a pre-K through 5th grade art teacher at a public school in Arlington, Virginia. I earned a Bachelor's of Science in Art Education from the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, and I'm working towards my Master's of Arts in Teaching at Morningside College. Welcome to my presentation on the impact of growth mindset intervention on K-12 student achievement. I explored the pervasive worldwide problem of low K-12 student achievement. I was drawn to this problem because it is applicable to a wide demographic. Research on low student achievement has the great potential to impact students around the world. I performed an extensive literature review on the effects of low student achievement and a past intervention. Low student achievement causes several adverse effects that include grade retention, failure to graduate high school, negative student emotions, and negative effects on teachers. The past intervention to solve low student achievement that I explored was the No Child Left Behind Act. I did an extensive literature review of contemporary peer-reviewed studies that sought to uncover the effects of the No Child Left Behind Act on students and teachers. As I reviewed these studies, I gained a better understanding of how No Child Left Behind fell short on its mission to solve the problem of low student achievement. In Dee and Jacob's study, they found that No Child Left Behind had no impact on students' reading scores and only a small positive impact on math scores. Ultimately, they found more than 60% of 4th graders did not meet the math proficiency benchmark, which meant that a significant portion of students were left behind. No Child Left Behind did not make the intended significant positive impact needed to raise low student achievement. Neal and Schanzenbach analyzed data from Chicago public schools to investigate the impact of No Child Left Behind on student achievement. The researchers found that the high-stakes No Child Left Behind exams negatively impacted the scores of students categorized as low-performing. The researchers described only a weak incentive for teachers to work with students who had little chance of becoming proficient before the No Child Left Behind exam. The No Child Left Behind intervention was not serving its intended role to help raise low student achievement. Past research has linked exam anxiety to diminished academic achievement. Segul et al.'s findings showed that the participants reported substantially more exam anxiety connected to the No Child Left Behind exam when compared to the regular classroom exams. This intervention was an additional stressor on low-performing students. Low student achievement is also a significant stressor for educators. The No Child Left Behind intervention exacerbated that stress. Mertler's study sought to uncover teachers' perceptions of No Child Left Behind and what impact the law had on their teaching and assessment practices. The results showed that the majority of teachers believed that No Child Left Behind forced them to direct their attention away from significant topics that had the potential to enhance learning and focus on what would most likely be on the test instead. The majority of educators also reported believing that No Child Left Behind had altered students' academic motivation and put additional stress on them. No Child Left Behind not only had negative impact on students, but on teachers as well. In addition to not solving the problem of low student achievement, a considerable drawback of No Child Left Behind was the increase in state and federal government spending that happened as a result of the law. It is evident from past research that the No Child Left Behind Act did not solve the problem of low student achievement. The No Child Left Behind Act sought to improve student achievement by addressing the perceived contributing factor of lack of transparency and accountability through the use of high-stakes testing. This approach did not take into account how students' self-theories and motivations could impact their academic achievement. The mindset and achievement connection has been examined by researchers to uncover if the mindset intervention is a plausible solution for low student achievement. Claro et al. Performed their study to explore the connection between academic achievement and students' mindsets. The results revealed that consistently across the country, the relation between achievement and the mindset students held was significant. The students that held a growth mindset attained higher achievement than that of their peers who held a fixed mindset. My research was guided by this question: what impact does a growth mindset intervention have on low K-12 student achievement? The purpose of this review study was to determine the effects of the independent variable of growth mindset intervention on the dependent variable of K-12 student achievement. My review study was designed to fill a gap in research. There's a significant gap in research on the effects of growth mindset intervention on student achievement. The possible impact of my research on the field of education could be that it points to the growth mindset intervention as a possible solution for low student achievement. This can inspire researchers to take on this topic and research it further with a variety of populations. The possible impact of this research on my practice could be that I decide to implement the growth mindset intervention in my classroom because of the positive results I found in the studies I reviewed. I could have the chance to share my findings with my coworkers as well to demonstrate for them the growth mindset intervention strategies I learned. My hypothesis for this research is that K-12 students who receive growth mindset intervention will demonstrate increased academic achievement when compared to their prior achievement. I chose to perform a review study out of necessity because I was required to teach remotely throughout the data collection period. To collect my research articles, I used the Morningside College Hickman-Johnson for library online databases. I also utilized the interlibrary loan option as well as Google Scholar to ensure I would include all possible pertinent studies in my review. I ensured validity by only utilizing contemporary peer-reviewed journal articles from the last 10 years. By reading titles and abstracts, I eliminated irrelevant articles until I was left with 29 pertinent articles to review. 15 articles were subsequently eliminated because they are not primary empirical research studies. I reviewed and analyzed the remaining 14 studies with quality appraisal tools. I used the Critical Appraisal Skills Program to assess my qualitative studies and the Quality Assessment Tool from the Effective Public Health Practice to assess my quantitative studies. These tools prompted me to assess each study's design, participant selection bias, confounders blinding, participant withdrawal and dropout rates, data collection methods, intervention integrity, and analysis. Each study earned a score through the use of the Quality Appraisal Tool, which corresponded to an overall rating of weak, moderate, or strong. One qualitative study was eliminated due to the potential participant bias. 8 quantitative studies were eliminated due to various combinations of potential participant bias, weak data collection methods, study design, and lacking reliability. 5 remaining strong-rated studies were included in the final review study. The widespread problem of low student achievement inspired me to research the effects of growth mindset intervention in hopes that it could be a possible intervention that would solve the problem. I explored the past intervention of No Child Left Behind and found that it did not demonstrate consistent ability to raise student achievement, especially low student achievement. It was quite costly and led to an increase in student anxiety. I researched the growth mindset intervention to see if it would raise student achievement and not cause adverse effects. As I went through the procedure of reading articles, titles, and abstracts to scan for relevance, I found that many studies needed to be eliminated due to participant age. Several studies were focused on college-age students and did not apply to my K-12 requirement. I also found many studies that explored the possible connection between growth mindset and achievement, but did not analyze the effects of an intervention. Lastly, I only included primary empirical studies in my review, so review studies were eliminated. I wanted to ensure that all pertinent primary and empirical research would be included in my review, so I took a mixed methods approach where I reviewed both qualitative and quantitative studies. As I reviewed possible articles to include in my review, I also noticed the researchers defined student achievement in a variety of ways. I broadened my achievement measure from grade point average to include overall health, stress levels, reading ability, writing ability, motivation, and self-efficacy. If I had limited myself to only include strong research that analyzed the intervention's effects on students' grade point averages, I would not have had enough studies to include in my review. 2 of the 5 studies showed mixed results for growth mindset interventions raising low student achievement. 3 of the 5 studies showed growth mindset intervention raised low student achievement. Anderson and Nielsen performed a large-scale quantitative study to explore how a reading intervention with a growth mindset approach would impact students' reading and writing skills. Students improved in all 3 reading domains, including text comprehension, decoding, and language comprehension. Anderson and Nielsen reported the p-value for the writing pretest to be 0.18, so the results were not statistically significant. However, the declared p-value for the writing test after 8 months of growth mindset intervention was 0.02, which demonstrated statistically significant results. The researchers found statistically significant results for the students' reading test after 3 months of intervention with a reported p-value of 0.05. However, after 7 months of growth mindset intervention, the p-value for the reading test was reported to be 0.8, which meant that the results were not statistically significant. Anderson and Nielsen's study findings did confirm my hypothesis that growth mindset intervention positively impacts student achievement, but the results would have been stronger if they were consistently statistically significant. Paunescu et al. Performed a large-scale quantitative study to uncover whether a growth mindset intervention is a scalable intervention to increase student achievement. The researchers found that the participant population who received the growth mindset intervention experienced improved academic achievement measured by core course GPA. The p-value reported by the authors was 0.048, so the results were statistically significant. Paunescu et al.'s findings confirmed my hypothesis that a growth mindset intervention positively impacts student achievement. Roux et al. Performed a small-scale quantitative study with participants who were receiving special education for reading. This study was executed to reveal how the growth mindset intervention impacted students' self-efficacy related to their reading ability and motivation. The participants experienced the computer-based brainology growth mindset intervention. The study results revealed that the growth mindset intervention did not significantly impact participants' self-efficacy related to reading. The researchers reported the p-value for self-efficacy to be 0.17. However, Roux et al. Did find that the growth mindset intervention made a statistically significant impact on students' motivation for reading. The researchers reported the p-value for the reading motivation measure as less than 0.001. Roux et al.'s results partly confirmed and partly did not confirm my hypothesis that growth mindset intervention would positively impact students' achievement. Yeager et al. Performed a small-scale quantitative study to discover how a growth mindset intervention would impact students' stress, health, and GPAs. The participants in the study were considered academically at risk because typically 9th grade students take Algebra 2, but these 9th grade students were only taking Algebra 1. The participants received the growth mindset intervention reported experiencing significantly less global stress than the control group. The p-value was reported as 0.01. Also, compared to the control group, the participants who received the growth mindset intervention reported more improvements to their health. The p-value was 0.04. Lastly, participants who received the growth mindset intervention had higher GPAs throughout the year than the control group. The p-value was 0.037, which means that all the reported results for the study were statistically significant. Yeager et al.'s findings confirmed my hypothesis that growth mindset intervention would positively impact student achievement. Yeager et al. Performed a large-scale quantitative study to reveal how a growth mindset intervention would impact students' GPAs. The study results showed that for typically lower-performing students, the participants who received the growth mindset intervention earned higher GPAs by the end of the academic year than the control group. The p-value was reported to be 0.001. The growth mindset intervention positively impacted lower-performing students' GPAs, but did not make the same impact on typically higher-performing students' GPAs. They did not experience improved GPAs due to the growth mindset intervention. The p-value for higher-performing students' GPAs was 0.634, which means the results were not statistically significant. The researchers acknowledged that the typically higher-performing students may have already benefited from growth mindsets before the intervention, so the intervention potentially did not substantially impact their GPAs. The researchers also noted that these students already started with higher GPAs than the lower-performing students and had less room for demonstrated improvement. The study results partly confirmed my hypothesis because the lower-performing students did experience a positive impact on their achievement due to the growth mindset intervention. However, the study results also did not confirm my hypothesis because the higher-performing students did not experience a positive impact on their achievement, although the results were not statistically significant. The results of this review study are significant in that they represent a wide variety of populations and circumstances. The studies are all based in different specific locations. Some occur in a single school, while others take place across the country. The scale and participant demographics also vary greatly, and although every study utilized surveys or questionnaires as part of their collection, the researchers ultimately varied in their data collection methods. These similarities and differences in the studies show that the results have the possibility to apply to a diverse population that struggles with the worldwide problem of low student achievement. Let's take a look at the results connection to past research. In Neal and Schanzenbach's study, the results showed that low-performing students did not benefit from No Child Left Behind. In contrast, the growth mindset intervention proved to positively impact typically lower-performing students' achievement in Yeager et al.'s 2019 study. Students' reading abilities are an essential component of student achievement. Dee and Jacob found that No Child Left Behind intervention made no impact on U.S. fourth grade students' reading scores on the national assessment. In contrast, the growth mindset intervention did make a statistically significant positive impact on second grade students' reading scores in Anderson and Nielsen's 2016 study. As a result of the No Child Left Behind law, government spending for literacy programs greatly increased. Alternatively, Ponescu et al.'s study proved that intervention costs are significantly reduced with a growth mindset intervention. Student anxiety has also been a genuine concern for educational leaders when considering possible solutions to low student achievement. Segul et al.'s research showed that participants reported more anxiety connected to No Child Left Behind exams when compared to their classroom exams. In contrast, Yeager et al. Explained that mindset interventions have the ability over time to increase coping and well-being in students. It can be calming for students to learn that it's possible to change. Not only does the growth mindset intervention not cause anxiety, but it improves students' well-being. Carol Dweck, who developed the mindset theory, explained that the students with fixed mindset conclude that their intelligence and abilities are innate. Therefore, fixed mindsets students do not believe in exerting effort to achieve. They think one is either born with the abilities or not. So rather than put forth effort to persevere, when they experience challenge or failure, they often give up. All studies in this review used growth mindset interventions. Students were encouraged to shift from an incremental self-theory to a mastery approach to learning. In other words, from a fixed to a growth mindset. The growth mindset interventions reinforced that students had the power to change their abilities and that their intelligence and abilities are not fixed. Anderson and Nielsen's study included the intentional absence of correction for student feedback unless it interfered with students' understanding of the content read. Specific emphasis was placed on praise for effort instead of performance, which draws directly from Dweck's instruction for educators. The implications of this research for students is positive. The growth mindset intervention has been shown to increase student achievement. Students could utilize this intervention to help them raise their grades, improve their health, decrease their stress levels, and improve motivation. Because this could solve the problem of low student achievement, students could also avoid grade retention and failure to graduate. Overall, students could experience positive side effects as a result of this research. This research could be used to empower administrators and teachers to raise their low-performing K-12 students' achievement. Administrators and teachers could also use findings presented in this study to lobby for purchase and practice of growth mindset intervention in their school district. And teachers working specifically with students receiving special education could use findings from this research to bolster their credibility when justifying the use of growth mindset intervention with their students. The limitation for this research was the lack of prior research available. There is a gap in research on growth mindset interventions and a considerable lack of studies that earn a strong rating as defined by the quality assessment tool. There's also a vast gap in growth mindset intervention research regarding study location. More quality research should be performed worldwide on K-12 student population to evaluate the intervention's possible effects on global problem of low student achievement. More mindset intervention research must be completed to explore further and uncover the impact of growth mindset intervention on the K-12 student population. Thank you for your time and attention.